Buckle up. The Democratic mob is out of control, grasping at straws. It is officially a psychotic state of denial. This is the absolute truth and reality that the Democrats in Washington, the media mob, cannot possibly come to grips with. The reality, the truth that will set them free. They are now in a psychotic rage, and it keeps spinning over and over again in their little liberal brains. Every single thing, I'll say it tonight once and for all, you hear from this day forward about Mueller and Russia and collusion and obstruction and Trump is nothing but forever meaningless and just a lot of noise by bitter people. 4 separate investigations concluded no Trump campaign, Trump-Russia collusion. None, zero, nothing. Nothing they say is going to change that. The FBI's 9-month counter-intel investigation, nothing. The House Intel investigation, nothing. The bipartisan Senate investigation, nothing. And special counsel Robert Mueller's witch hunt found nothing. And they were trying. Mueller is done. It's over. This is like worse for them than election night 2016, especially when the exit polls showed at 5:15 that Donald Trump didn't win a single state. This is like it showed in 2004. John Kerry was the next president. Wrong again. Look at the liberal tears, panic, mayhem, and downright unhinged nature of everybody. Tonight, continue the hysteria. And frankly, I'm going to be blunt here. This is now officially a mass mental disturbance never before seen on this kind of level, full-blown psychotic meltdown. The rage Trump mob's new favorite target is, of course, they got to blame somebody but themselves for the lies they told and the conspiracies and the hoax they believed and spread. This is where it gets so absurd. Listen closely to this. Under federal law, the law, the Attorney General Barr was not required at all, zero, to release any portion of the Mueller report. He didn't have to release one word. But in an effort to be transparent, he did it anyway. He didn't have to. The AG released the report in full only after redacting that which was legally required, including grand jury information, investigatory sources and methods. Prior to the full release, we know Barr submitted March 24th a public letter outlining the report's key findings. No collusion, no determination on obstruction. But the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, the Office of Legal Counsel all concurred pretty much within an hour that there's no obstruction. Barr offered Mueller the chance to review his letter before he sent it. Mueller declined. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Mueller later admitted Barr's summary was in no way inaccurate or misleading, despite him writing a whiny letter about how he's misinterpreted by the media mob. Me and Mueller have something in common. We see the media mob for who they are. And Barr testified before the Senate Judiciary Committee, but refused to be interrogated in the House, not by the congressmen and women that are accountable and elected to office, but by Nadler's lawyers and staff. This has never happened in the 206 years of history of that committee, and Barr wasn't going to let it happen now. And he's still willing to testify before actual committee members. I think they're afraid of him. Now, during this entire process, Barr told the truth. He committed no crimes. He went above and beyond what the law requires in terms of transparency. Now, laughably, because of what I just outlined for all of you and described a long list of prominent Democrats, they're still calling for Barr to resign or be impeached, including crazy Uncle Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, the cowardly Schiff, and, of course, there's always Maxine Waters. No one else is calling for impeachment. She is. Citing little evidence, Speaker Pelosi even claims Barr committed the crime of lying to Congress. No, he didn't. And Nadler is moving to hold Barr in contempt of Congress. And his colleague, yes, Chicken Little himself, Congressman Steve Cohen, he's calling for Barr to be locked up. They lost it. They're unhinged. Look.
Do you actually support the idea of, putting him in... are you talking about just having him sit for a hearing or locking him up somehow?
You have to have him sit for a hearing, and I think you have to have him locked up unless he agrees to participate and come to the hearing.
But do you actually believe that your committee is going to order the Attorney General of the United States to be arrested by the Sergeant of Arms and put in jail?
I don't know what we'll do, but we can't just go to the Justice Department. It's meaningless.
They've lost their mind. Democratic congressman wants to handcuff, get this, the Attorney General of the United States, have the Sergeant of Arms drag him before the committee or to prison. No trial, no charges, nothing. Well, welcome to Saddam Hussein's USA. Now, keep in mind, as we have been predicting for years, the Democratic mob's real goal has been and continues to be the impeachment of the president. They won't let the truth or facts in any way get in their narrative and conspiracy theories on collusion. Take a look. Two top Democrats, what they said over the weekend. They've lost it. Look.
Are you concerned that impeachment talk may actually help the president's reelection?
I'm concerned that if we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected. If we don't impeach him, he will say he has been vindicated.
You have said that you think that the House Judiciary Committee should open impeachment proceedings.
I think they should begin the process. I do think they should begin the process.
Okay, at least Congressman Al Green, I got to give him credit. An honest Democrat. He's being honest about this. It's all about politics. They want to impeach President Trump. He said it. Why? They can't beat Trump in 2020, and they know it. It's the only way to get rid of him. Now congressional Democrats are calling for Mueller to testify. Of course, another desperate attempt to keep the collusion, hoax, conspiracy theories going for as long as possible. Let's milk it dry. It doesn't even matter what Mueller would say at this point. It doesn't matter in the least what he says. Now, maybe Mueller would love to take yet another parting shot at Trump and the administration, get another dig in, but he still gets invited, if he does, to the good D.C. establishment parties. It doesn't matter one iota legally. His report is what his report is. The decision by Barr is made. It's done. It's finished. All noise. That's why the president rightly said, why are we letting Mueller testify? He works for Barr. Now, by the way, the endless smearing of an innocent man, the duly elected president of the United States, this now gets serious. This has to stop. Now, if you don't like President Trump and you're suffering from this psychotic rage against him, my advice to you is go try and beat him at the ballot box. And by the way, good luck with that. Crazy Uncle Joe, good luck. But if Mueller does testify, okay, he should definitely be forced to answer significant questions about his 2-year, $30 million political persecution. Why did he think it was okay to hire a team of biased Democratic donors with major conflicts of interest? Question one, to investigate the Trump campaign. Why did he even hire Hillary Clinton's former lawyer? That's pretty ballsy. And also, why did he hire Andrew Weissman, his pit bull, who literally at Hillary Clinton's victory party, he was trying to celebrate, but it didn't happen? Why did he hire 0 Republicans? When did Mueller know that the Trump-Russia collusion was a real hoax? There was no evidence it didn't happen. And did he conceal that fact from the president to set up a perjury track? And why didn't he tell us? Why didn't he tell the country? And by the way, that would be a perjury trap on obstruction. And by the way, if Mueller's mandate was broad enough to investigate taxi cabs, loan applications, FARA violations, tax violations, why would it not have been broad enough to investigate Hillary Clinton's bought and paid for dirty Russian dossier? Again, created by a foreign intelligence officer spy, we know now full of Russian lies, and even the New York Times admitting that Hillary's dirty Russian dossier could have actually been official Russian disinformation campaign chaos creation from the very start. Well, what about spying? Did Mueller ever bother to investigate the fact that members of the Trump campaign were spied on? How many instances were they spied on? How many spies were involved? Thanks to our year plus 2 years of reporting and a new story from the New York Times. Thanks for catching up, guys. You're a little slow on the uptake, but I know you were pushing lies for 2 years. We know that the Trump campaign advisor, George Papadopoulos, he was spied on by an informant named Stefan Halper. And a blonde bombshell, we now learned, undercover agent sent by our own government, who was flirting with him and using her charms and suggestions of information. Well, we're going to have a great relationship. That actually happened right out of a Bond movie. And on Friday, the New York Times reporter who broke the story had this pretty stunning admission. Let's take a look.
Was she an FBI agent?
I'm just gonna leave it at right now as a government investigator.
Okay.
I use that wording for a reason, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
George Papadopoulos said everything in the story was true, except that person being an FBI employee. Who was it? Was the CIA spying against one of our own citizens? How many spies ultimately were utilized to spy on the Trump campaign? Who ordered the spying on the Trump campaign? And what did Obama, Biden know, and when did they know it? Did top intel officials try and abuse their power, bypass American laws? Did they outsource illegal spying on we, the people, U.S. citizens? Did they outsource that which they knew was illegal to friendly countries to do the job they would not be able to do? Well, the Attorney General is now definitively investigating this spying, and probably sooner than later, we're going to have the answers we deserve. Even sooner, we'll have the results of the Inspector General Horowitz investigation into FISA abuse. And let's not forget John Huber's investigation into all the leaks. Speaking of which, more unearthed texts. It never ends. The endless stream of new information from the former FBI lovebirds Page and Strzok, suggesting that America's top intel agencies were rampantly leaking sensitive information about the Russia investigation just after President Trump was elected. In December 2016, Strzok writing Page, quote, "Think our sisters, other intel agencies, have begun leaking like mad, scorned and worried and political. They're kicking into overdrive." In an email in April, Strzok also wrote, quote, "I'm beginning to think the agency got info a lot earlier than we thought and hasn't shared it completely with us. Might explain all these weird, seemingly incorrect leads all these media folks have. Would also highlight agency as the source of some of the leaks. Now, there are concerns that these leaks were coming from either the National Security Agency or the CIA, all under Obama Biden's watch. Those agencies were led by Clapper and Brennan, two of the biggest Trump haters in America. What did they leak? What did they know? When did they leak it? When did they know it? Republican lawmakers, they are rightfully calling for a new investigation into all these leaks surrounding the Russia probe. That's only a small portion of what we will be getting. Night after night on this program, we told you we're not stopping. We're going to continue to demand truth, justice, because the rule of law, the application, equal application of our laws, and frankly, with no hyperbole, our constitutional republic is at stake here. Now, we do have some really good news to report. The media is trying really hard to ignore. The economy in this country is booming like we have not seen in over 50 to 60 years. 1.3 million more jobs openings in America than we actually have jobless individuals. Think of that. Financial optimism is at an 18-year high. Unemployment is at a 49-year low. In Pennsylvania, Uncle Joe's home state, guess what? They're so desperate for workers that they're actually having job seminars in prison. When are you getting out? We need to hire you. No kidding. We're seeing record low unemployment for those with a high school degree, even those who dropped out of high school. Record low levels of unemployment for women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, youth unemployment. On Friday, in order to explain the Trump's great economic boom and recovery that we never got in 8 years of Obama Biden, well, you have MSNBC junior conspiracy theorist Chris Hayes. He actually took to Twitter to issue brand new multi-part conspiracy theories, this time about how businesses and Republicans conspired. They were so out to get Obama that they all conspired intentionally to make the economy bad under Obama's presidency. And now they're working hard to make the economy good. Maybe it has to do with the tax cuts, the deregulation, the better business conditions, the limited government, low taxes philosophy that worked for John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, and is now working for Donald Trump. And thankfully, Americans are tuning out these conspiracy theorists on NBC News. Look at this Gallup poll. Wow. President now has from Gallup the highest approval numbers of his presidency. Gee, how did that happen? A few points up from President Obama during his third year in office.